Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community. The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
Hey, welcome to the show again this week. Today we'll be talking with Carolyn Hart about her latest Death on Demand mystery called Murder Walks the Plank. But first, Susie Beasley will chat with Fran Harbert about a book that Fran's read recently.
Fran, One Woman's Political Journey by Lynn Musselmite and Susan Crawford Jones. Can you give us some little history on this? It's focused on Oklahoma now.
Yes, the book actually began in the late 1800s and goes through the early 1900s.
Okay.
And specifically the time when Oklahoma became a state.
Mm-hmm. So who is the one woman?
She is Kate Bernard. Mm-hmm. Kate was born in Nebraska in 1875, and she really had a rather rough childhood. Her mother died before she was 2 years old. She lived a number of years with her maternal grandparents.
Okay.
Her father, who is John Bernard, came to Oklahoma, well, for the run of 1889, right, before the state. But she came and lived with him when she was it was about a couple of years after he'd been here.
Right. So now there is a correctional facility in Oklahoma City named for Kate Bernard. Now, why is that?
She was very concerned about, well, humanity in general, and she was active in our early state government. Okay. She was elected to the position of Charities and Correctional Commission. Mm-hmm. She was the head of that, and she was the first woman in the United States to be elected to a state office.
Oh, this is very intriguing. Now, what was this political journey for her? You said that she was appointed to things and she was the first elected woman in a state office. So how did she come into the political realm more so?
Well, she was concerned about people. Mm-hmm. She was concerned about the conditions of orphans, of workers, like the people who worked in mines. She was concerned about people in prisons. Mm-hmm. She was well known throughout the country, traveled across the United States.
So she was somewhat of an activist in the early mm-hmm. days. So what's the background of these two writers, Musselmite and Jones Crawford?
They are both professors of history at Cameron University in Lawton.
Okay. Okay. So now describe some of the pictures in the book. Kind of give us an overview of the pictures that are in this book.
There are some really nice pictures. There are pictures early statehood, mm-hmm. Some of the early governors and other politicians, Alfalfa Bill Murray for one. Mm-hmm. And there are several pictures of her. She really was an attractive woman. Mm-hmm. She never married. She only lived to be about 55.
But she had a service to people.
That is right.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fran, we certainly appreciate you coming and sharing with us One Woman's Political Journey, Kate Bernard and Social Reform by Lynn Musselmite and Susan Jones Crawford. This book is fairly new and it's available at your local library and perhaps your local bookstore. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Fran.
Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Next up, BJ chats with Gary Rodriguez about the book Lucky Lady.
Gary, what have you brought for us today?
I've got a book on the Pacific War in World War II. It's called The Lucky Lady, the World War II Heroics of the USS Santa Fe and the USS Franklin.
Okay, and who wrote it?
I'm sorry, Steve Jackson.
Okay.
He's written some other naval historical books.
Okay. So I take it the Santa Fe and the Franklin ended up meeting each other in the vast Pacific.
Very much so. The USS Santa Fe was a light cruiser, and the Franklin was a large aircraft carrier. It's the Nimitz class carrier. What happens, this book tells all of these little threads of all these people's lives, and it actually goes into the philosophy of why the kamikazes became the weapon of choice by the Japanese toward the end, a weapon of desperation. But unfortunately, it was horribly effective when it happened, when they actually hit the ship. And so it's a very, very broad picture of World War II in the Pacific, and how come things kind of all worked their way to where they did. In the end, the Franklin had been hit by a kamikaze, and the Santa Fe, through some tremendous seamanship by the captain, tucked under the Franklin and got close enough that the men were being able to be offloaded and they were able to help fight the fires, bearing in mind that another cruiser had done that same thing and the powder had blown up in the carrier, and it had basically killed like a third of the men on the cruiser that had done the same thing. So of course the first thing out of the box, the captain of the Santa Fe said, "Have you flooded your batteries?" And they said, "We can't be sure." Well, that took a lot of guts for him to say, "Okay, we've got to do something to help them. We're going to do this." And just the story of how he got the ship, he kind of whipped it in there, and the helmsman goes, "You say what?" And he says, "I gave you an order, follow it." So they did it. I mean, it's really just the story of the Pacific War. Mm-hmm. And all these lives as they all come together to that one point. Mm-hmm. And it's really a neat book.
Well, it sounds like anybody who's interested in any kind of naval history would enjoy this, because I imagine there's a lot about the Navy and how they fight their ships.
Yep, and the individual, down to the lowest seaman, how important they are, why things kind of worked their way the way they did, the numerical superiority at the end of the U.S. fleet, and how the Japanese has totally destroyed their naval warfare ability by some very poor planning, in some cases arrogance on their part. And it just really kind of pulls it all together. It's a really neat overview. It's a kind of weighty book in a way when you get to read it. There's so many facts and figures in there. But it's a really interesting book.
Mm-hmm. And you said a lot of personal stories as well.
Yes, very much. That's what it is pulling all these threads into one little, they all end up coming to one little point. Okay. So, and at one point the guy was trying to court-martial all of the officers that, quote, abandoned the ship.
Oh dear.
The fact that they were blown off the ship was besides the point. So, but it's called Lucky Lady, The World War II Heroics of the USS Santa Fe and Franklin by Steve Jackson.
You can find this book at your library and your favorite bookstore.
Coming up next is Kids Corner. Shelley Ziegler-Hill will talk about a modern classic for young people, Robert Cormier's I Am the Cheese.
Hi, with us today is Shelley Ziegler-Hill. She's from the Dell City Library. She's the young adult librarian there. And she's brought two books today to talk about by
Robert Cormier.
Tell me why you like him.
Well, he is one of my favorite teen authors. And I think a lot of the reason why is his books, the theme is kind of like things are never what they seem to be. Which is very eerie and dark, which I really enjoy for some odd reason. And anyway, so I like his books for that reason, and also he has a lot of male characters in his books, which is it's hard to find those in teen books a lot, and I feel that they speak out to some of our teen customers, our boy teen customers that come in, and so that's why I really like his books as well, because they do have those male characters in it that teen males can kind of relate to. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good thing. Also, they're just weird. They're just really weird, and
they're off the wall.
They're off the wall. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then there's always that twist at the end that gets you. And it also keeps you reading. So they're very intense, slow-paced, but it's worth it at the end. So you get the big payoff at the end. That's
I
why.
see.
Yes.
Great. Well, one of them is called I Am the Cheese, and I've heard of this one.
It's a weird one.
Really?
Yes, which is something to say for Robert Cormier. It is. It's very strange. You meet this young boy, I think he's about 12 or 13, and he's in some type of institution, which is a common theme for this author. And you don't quite understand because he keeps dreaming that he's on his bike and he's running from these people. And he keeps singing that song, Farmer in the Dell, which is part of the whole twist ending, which I won't give away.
Oh, good.
And there's this male doctor in the book, which is another common theme. So he's on this bike running away, and you eventually find out why at the end. It's terribly sad. It's very.
Oh, don't give it away.
But it's cool.
Oh, don't give it away.
All right, cool.
Great. Well, and Robert Cormier wrote The Bumblebee Flies Away.
It's a great book. It's probably one of my favorite books. There's also a movie based on this book, but I do not recommend the movie at all. It's they change a lot of it. They even change the ending. They make it a happy ending, which does not suit this author.
Hence, the book is a great read.
Yes.
Why did you like it?
Well, I liked it because, once again, you have a young boy. He's in an institution. You don't know why. Common theme, but it's cool. It's really a book about finding your dreams and finding yourself. And I think a lot of young males could use that. Well, I think anyone could use that, to be honest with you. So that's why I just really love that it has that. It's a sad book, but it's very inspirational at the same time.
Well, I'm going to have to stop you there. Robert Cormier, The Bumblebee Flies Anyway, and I Am the Cheese. You can find them at your favorite bookstore or at your local library.
Hey, we're back once more time to talk about a movie that we have in the library system on VHS tape. This is a picture that Shelley chose, and what was it?
It's called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and it stars Johnny Depp, who does a superb job.
He does.
He plays a writer named, I think his last name is Duke, and it's actually based on the actual writer Hunter S. Thompson, if anyone's ever heard of him. And the film is based on the book itself, written by Hunter S. Thompson. And the story, the premise of the story is that Duke and his friend Dr. Gonzo, his attorney, they go to Las Vegas to cover a cross-desert motorcycle race. But that's just the beginning of their adventures in Las Vegas. There is a lot of drug use and cursing and just crazy antics in this movie. And I think at first viewing, that's all you see. But I think if anyone has read Hunter S. Thompson, or Jack Kerouac for that matter, because this book is in response to Jack Kerouac's book, On the Road, they might see a little bit beyond the drug use and the just sheer craziness, because I know it is a crazy movie, but I really like it.
Yeah, when I started watching it, I got about 12 minutes into this lunacy, and I thought,
That's
I
a good
can't
word.
sit here for 2 hours and watch this. But it won me over before it was over, because it was a lot of fun, and Johnny Depp is superb in this movie.
He should have got an Oscar for this movie.
He really imitates
the
Thompson
voice
very
and
well.
everything, the look, the walk. He's got Thompson down pat.
So what did you think of it, Liz?
Well, I really didn't care for this movie. I have to be honest. It just, I mean, from beginning to end, there were some funny bits, and I laughed, of course, but I just didn't like it. It was just these people, here they are just taking these drugs and getting high, and all throughout the whole movie, that's all they did.
I think at first, when I've seen this film probably 4 or 5 times, and when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is just a stupid film, it's crazy, it's funny in bit parts. But then I had read Hunter S. Thompson and Jack Kerouac, and I kind of understood the story. The book was actually supposed to be called The American Dream. And towards the end of the film, you kind of get that perspective when Johnny Depp, I think he sees some Vietnam soldiers getting off a bus, and he starts talking about the American Dream. And he quotes Timothy Leary and talking about the plight for what's at the end of the tunnel of life. So I don't know. I just thought it was great.
Well, a split decision on this one. It's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Johnny Depp. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Joan, so nice to have you back this morning.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And you're reading a little book.
I am.
Titled Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. Tell me what drew you to this book.
Well, a couple of things. I have a 12-year-old daughter who is more into poetry than I am. That's one thing. And the other is I have a new dog who's 6 months old right now, and it's Great Dane. And my daughter and I and my husband are all hopelessly in love with this animal. So
Not hard to do.
it's not hard to do, but you know, it's strangely I have not been particularly. I wouldn't have called myself a dog person before now, and now I know what everybody's talking about. I finally get it. I'm just really happy with this dog. So, in an attempt to get me a little more exposure to poetry, of course I've read a lot of poetry in my day, but I've never really enjoyed it, and my daughter loves it, and so we decided to read this book. Together. And it's about a young boy's discovery of poetry, and it's interesting. It takes place in the confines of a school year, and if I could read a couple of things, it would be sort of more explanatory. But the teacher has obviously told the children to write some poetry, and this is his reaction. September 13th. I don't want to, because boys don't write poetry, girls do. So that's how the year starts. And as you move a little bit further, she's having them read a bunch of different kinds of poetry and exposing them to wonderful works of art. And he is kind of a contrary little boy. He says, and you said that Mr. Robert Frost, who wrote about the pasture, was also the one who wrote about those snowy woods and the miles go before he sleeps. Well, I think Mr. Robert Frost has a little too much time on his hands. And by the end,
Is he a convert by the end?
he has figured out how to express an event in his life that involves a dog that he's not been able to talk about before. And he finds his path through poetry. And so this, coming full circle, I finally get it. I get it about dogs, and I get it about poetry.
You were talking about the dog park.
The dog park?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, it only opened in November, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers are going there, but because it's always really crowded. But it's at Hefner and Grand, and it's a fenced-in area. There's a pond for the retrievers, and mind you, they're always in there, and they're always wet, and they're always muddy. And the dogs, you unleash them when you take them in, and they're not hostile when they're not attached to their owners. And they run around, and it's like having small children. They run around and they get tired, and then they sleep well at night.
And then you go home and read this book. Love that dog.
And the dog curls up at your feet instead of chewing everything in the house. It's just a fabulous life.
So your life has changed. You love poetry. You love dogs.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being here and
Thanks
sharing.
for having me.
Our thanks to MJ and Joan and Love That Dog. And our featured interview this week is with Carolyn Hart. Hi, thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's my pleasure, always.
Carolyn, we among the first to congratulate you, I guess, on television for a recent award that you've won. Tell us. I don't want to do it. You do it.
Okay. Well, I am totally thrilled, but my Oklahoma book, Letter from Home, received the Agatha for being the best mystery novel of 2003. It was awarded at a mystery convention in Washington, D.C. This past weekend, and I am beyond measure thrilled.
Oh, yes, well, you should be. The Agatha, tell me if I'm wrong here, it's awarded by readers, isn't it?
Exactly, precisely, which frankly to me is more meaningful, because an Agatha nomination means that several hundred people have read your book from all around the country and thought enough of it to send in a nomination. These are the people who will be attending this convention that's held every spring. And at the convention, the attendees vote and the winner is selected. And so I was very pleased.
Yes. Carolyn is being very modest. This is your third Agatha.
Yes, but this one is wonderful. This is from my Oklahoma book.
The book is called Letters from Home.
Yes.
And it is still available. It's
Yes,
in the
it
bookstores now. Can you tell us just a little bit about it? I know that's not what you came here to talk about,
Right.
but
It's set in the summer of 1944 in a small northeastern Oklahoma town. The protagonist is Gretchen Gilman. She's 13 years old that summer and working on the small town newspaper. A murder occurs on the street where she lives, and it changes her life forever.
okay. And it was also nominated for a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too modest with us here today. Can you hold up a copy of the book so
Yes.
folks can see what they're looking for? Can we get that on camera, guys? I know we didn't plan on this, but
Right.
there we go. Carolyn Hart, Letters from Home.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the latest book in the Death on Demand series
Right.
is currently out in hardback as well. That's called Murder Walks the Plank.
Yes.
Tell us a little about that one.
Annie Darling, who owns a mystery bookstore, and she is going to celebrate mysteries and have an event to raise money for literacy. She plans it on an excursion boat off of the Sea Island where she lives. Everything is going fabulously. Everyone's having a wonderful time, and suddenly someone goes overboard. When Annie later discovers that the woman who fell overboard had been lured onto the boat. She had not bought a ticket. She was not personally invited by Annie. Annie suspects foul play. But the puzzling thing is that Pamela Potts, who went overboard, is an island volunteer, a very good, kind, helpful, sweet woman. Why would anyone want to kill Pamela Potts?
Yes, fascinating story.
Yes.
Now, this occurs on a boat.
Yes.
Have you ever been on, I know this is a smaller boat, but have you ever taken one of these mystery cruises? Have you ever been involved in any of those?
Yeah, I was, and this was fun. This was in 1990, and this was rather a major thing. This wasn't an excursion boat off
Right.
an island. A group of us, of mystery authors, were invited to go aboard the Queen Elizabeth in the fall of 1990 because it was the 100th anniversary of Agatha Christie's birth, and we put on mystery program aboard the Queen Elizabeth, and it was very exciting.
Murder Walks the Plank begins with a series of very short scenes introducing a very large cast of characters.
Yes, I'm very guilty of that often, Doug.
Well, I was wondering, is that there's a slight sense of disorientation for the reader because you don't know who's going to be important, who's not.
Right.
You don't know if you're sneaking some clues in on us right at the very beginning. Just wondering, do you have favorite techniques for planting clues? I'm not asking you to tell us what they are, but are there tricks of the trade that you like to use when you construct that sort of thing?
Well, you know, the odd thing about clues and about a mystery book with a plot is that I'm often complimented for plotting, and the real truth of the matter is that I write a story as it happens. And something will happen early in the book, and it's only later as I reach another point that I realize that that's a clue to what is happening. So I don't really consciously know that I'm doing it. I'm very appreciative of my subconscious. You know?
Well, that kind of surprised me. I was going to ask you whether you plot backwards from a solution, which apparently you don't. You don't come up with an answer first and then go backwards towards
Well, I'm
it.
one of the sort of writers that writing teachers want us to shut us off into a hidden place because I do not outline. And I know that often aspiring writers are told that they must outline, and that really isn't true. Now, I am not saying that when you start a book, I don't have an idea what's going to happen. I certainly do. But this is how I do it. I know who the protagonist is. That gives me the tone and the situation and the possibilities that can occur. For example, with Annie Darling owning a mystery bookstore on a resort island off the coast of South Carolina, we are not going to have mafia involved, okay?
Right.
You know, so I know the protagonist. I know who the victim is. And once you know the identity of the victim, that gives you your cast of characters, because the person who surrounded the victim in his or her life will be the suspects after a murder. I know who committed the crime. I know why. I have a working title, and that's absolutely all I know when I start on page 1.
You must have a devious mind to be able
Oh, I
to
do
work
have a devious mind. Yes.
What do you do when you're plotting? I remember reading that Agatha Christie used to do housework or take walks.
I walk.
Do you? Is that...
But Agatha Christie was a genius, and now this is my very favorite story about Christie. One day she was walking in her garden with a friend. They had not been speaking, and suddenly Christy said, "I have finished the book." And her friend said, "Agatha, I have always wanted to read one of your books in manuscript. May I do so?" And Christy looked surprised and said, "Oh, I haven't written it yet." But she truly was amazing. But for me, I walk, and often I have discovered that I work things out in my sleep. You know, I will be puzzled about something or concerned about what I'm going to do next, and in my sleep I will be working on it, and I'll wake up with an idea.
Okay. Among other things, Murder Walks the Plank, as I can't talk today. I'm getting tongue-tied. As are many of the other Death on Demand books. It's a love letter to the classic mystery story. You drop a lot of names and a lot of titles and make sly references, I've noticed, to many books. How did you start reading mysteries? Do you remember what your first mystery was?
Oh, it was
after Nancy Drew.
Well, it was Nancy Drew, of course. Well, it was Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, and then the Beverly Gray books, and then Agatha Christie. You know, so I don't remember which was the first Christie that I read, but when I was young, she was still alive, and it was always so wonderful to look forward to a new Christie for Christmas. You know, and I was honored I had the opportunity to write a foreword for the new Christie books that are being put out as e-books, and that's what I called it, was a Christie for Christmas. You know.
Well, I'm sorry, we have run out of time, and we could talk a lot more. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Doug.
Everybody, pick up Murder Walks the Plank. It's available now, and I know you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Okay, thank you, Carolyn, very much.
Okay.
No, it is wet, and the sun is not sunny.
Hi. My name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Carolyn told me before she had to leave that her next book, which is due out next April, you have to wait a whole year for it, it's called Death at the Party. It's another Death on Demand mystery with Annie and Max Darling. So there'll be more references to the classic mystery stories. I think you'll enjoy it. And when you go shopping for Carolyn's books, check out Full Circle Bookstore. She has several books that she autographs and leaves it full circle, so you can get an autographed copy of one of her books. Don't forget to check out the library website, by the way. We're at www.metrolibrary.org. You can find out, check our catalog, see what the library holds in CDs, videos, and of course, books and magazines. So be sure to check that out too. We will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.